Okay. All right. It is our first time to have a male guest here on World Pulse Philippines, and we are so thankful that he accepted our invitation to discuss about mental health and COVID-19 dealing with challenges, a very timely topic for us tonight. Our speaker resides at Rosario, Batangas, a registered guidance counselor at Amara Counseling and Training Center from 2015 up to present. He finished MA in Counseling at Asian Theological Seminary 2015 and currently finishing his PhD in Clinical Christian Counseling at Asia Graduate School of Theology. And he is a certified trainer, facilitator of HIV Channels of Hope for World Vision International and AIDS Link International. He's one of the board member. Mental health advocate, passion for counseling or psychotherapy, and providing psychoeducation about mental health and other psychoeducational workshops. Let's welcome Alan.
So it's mental health and COVID-19, dealing with the challenges. I actually, what do you call this? Make this topic from original 75-minute webinar to a 15-minute. Hopefully, I can finish the whole thing in the allotted time given to me. Okay. So let's proceed. So the theme overview for our topic this evening is first, mental health and the pandemic. So I'll give you some definitions about what is mental health and what is pandemic. And then we will talk about the common mental health challenges. So I think this is the most important part of this webinar, and of course the self-care. And if we have time, we'll also put some Q&A if we have time later on. So let's go to the first theme. So mental health and the pandemic. Okay. So according to World Health Organization, mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. In this positive sense, mental health is the foundation for individual well-being and the effective functioning of a community. So I guess from this definition, it's very clear how important it is for us to take care of our mental health. And according to Peter Mann, what is a mental disorder or mental illness? So it is a psychological or behavioral patterns that occurs in an individual and is thought to cause distress or disability that is not expected as part of normal development or culture. So mental disorders are generally defined by a combination of how a person feels, how a person acts, thinks, and perceives. So it should be a combination of all these things. It emphasizes behavior that is destructive to self, to others, and to relationships, and on the painful emotions. So if you're going to ask, when is the time to seek a professional help? So on the second bullet, when the person is becoming destructive to self, to others, and to relationships because of the painful emotion. Okay. So some mental health facts. So according to the Department of Health, government data show that 1 out of 5 Filipino adults have a mental health disorder. But it is unclear how the numbers apply to high school and college students. Are educational institutions doing anything to address this issue? Of course, that's why we have guidance counselors in the campuses. I just don't know how they are functioning well because I heard there are still many issues when it comes to guidance and counseling, but I hope they are doing and addressing the mental health of our students. Okay. So if you are not aware, there is a mental health law here in the Philippines. It's RA, or Republic Act 11036. So I'm not going to discuss this because it's kind of long, but this is basically to establish a mental health policy to take care of the mental health of the Filipinos and to ensure that there's a balanced delivery of mental health services in the community. So if you want to know more about the law, you can actually Google this, okay? Just to inform you that we have a law on mental health. That's why I'm including this in my presentation. So if you're not aware how mental health issues should be addressed, because some people go directly to the psychiatrist where in fact you don't have to. So this is the mental health escalation process. First is the peer counseling. Peer counseling is like your friends who is there to ready to listen to you and to give some advice when it's needed. So that it's a peer counseling. That's why it's really important for us to connect with people, with friends, because they are the ones who can give us counseling peer to peer from one friend to another. Psychological first aid is usually being given to the survivors of any calamities like typhoon, earthquake, and in this time of the pandemic, the psychological first aid are given to those in the frontliners and healthcare workers because they are not so used to having so many patients in a day that it overwhelms them. So they are the one who are needing psychological first aid. So there's another training for this or webinar if you want, because anyone can do this. You don't have to be a counselor or a psychotherapist to provide a psychological first aid. Anyone can do the first step. Okay, now if peer counseling or psychological first aid is not enough, then that is the time for you to advise someone or for you to look for a counselor, and then the counselor will assess if the person needs a psychological assessment to a psychologist. So the psychologist now will do some battery of tests, and it will determine the diagnosis. And also the test will tell the patient or the client if he needs to see a psychiatrist. Because in our country, it's only the psychiatrists who have the right to give some medications on anxiety, on depression, all those things. That's why they are the last one to be seen if you are having some mental health issues. Okay, so they are the doctors of the brain. So they are the ones providing the medication, provided they have a proper psychological assessment. So this is the the right way how to handle deal with a mental health issue with someone. Okay, so what is a pandemic? I'm just going to define it. A pandemic is defined as an epidemic occurring worldwide or over a very wide area, crossing international boundaries and usually affecting a large number of people. So that is a World Health Organization definition. So COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new strain of coronavirus. It is a pandemic and defining global health crisis until today. So what is the common impact or the common impact of a pandemic like COVID-19? So of course, global suffering is very obvious if going to listen to the news. People around the globe is suffering in so many ways. So there is an impact on our social economic that is related to our lives and livelihood. It jeopardizes the lives of people and as well as our source of income. And of course, it goes without saying that it's a physical health in danger because of the how can easily be transmitted the virus. And our mental health also is in jeopardy because of so many factors. Okay, we will talk about that after this. So let's talk about common mental health challenges because of those global suffering. So we are now on the second theme of our webinar tonight. So let's talk about first the COVID-19 stressors in general. So of course, this is very common. There's always fears of infection. So who wouldn't be afraid? That's why we have this quarantine, so to minimize the infection. Another stressor is duration of quarantine or lockdown. So it varies from one country to another, but here in the Philippines, almost 4 months now. The lockdown from ECQ to GCQ to modified GCQ. So it's still a quarantine. And because of the quarantine, people are experiencing frustration and boredom. So this is common nowadays. And there's also this fear or inadequate supplies like basic needs of food. Okay. And there is an inadequate or inaccurate information. So you have to be careful. Where are you, the sources of the information about COVID or how can you protect yourself from the COVID-19? So these are the general stressors brought about by the pandemic. So what is the effect of COVID-19 in general? So the picture you'll see there is the Filipino version, but this is the English one. Of course, we can go out due to quarantine. So our going out of our homes are limited. We can't go back to old life. And the expert says that it will take us at least a year or two before we can go back to where we used to be. And supply scarcity is also an issue, or there's an effect. Of course, there is a health threat to us, and bad news mostly on the news. That's why you have to limit your listening or watching news on TV or on social media. And of course, this is one of the effect that is kind of we're not prepared, the loss of security or sense of security. Okay, so these are the reasons why we are having these top COVID-19 mental health challenges. Okay, so this is based on my experience and on research as well. The clients that I have been counseling with, these are the common, and also from the articles I have read. So number one is fears, different kinds of fears of infection, death of loved ones, of course, if somebody is have contracted the virus, and loss of income. Another mental health challenge or issue is anxiety because of the uncertainties. Uncertainties in our life cause too much worries, negative thoughts, and stress. And also depression. It's escalating now. There are so many people experiencing this one. It's a prolonged loneliness that could lead to depressive disorder. And people are also experiencing grief if you are not aware. It is an emotional pain over some loss. Of course, loss of job, loss of loved ones. For the students, they weren't able to graduate to March. So there's some loss there of the ceremony, celebration, the weddings, the birthdays. So no one can attend. No one can have these big celebrations. So there is some sense of loss there, and there is grief. People are are grieving over this some loss. It may be for some, it's not really a big deal, but for others, it's really a big deal. So these are the top mental health challenges. But let me give you a difference between anxiety, depression, and stress. So according to Collins, in his book Christian Counseling, individuals under stress experience psychological and physical symptoms such as irritability, anger, fatigue, muscle pain, digestive troubles, and difficulty sleeping. Anxiety, on the other hand, is defined by persistent, extreme worries that don't go away even in the absence of a stressor. So you can be anxious even there is no stressor. Imagine that. Depression includes unhappiness, inefficiency, physical illness, decreased sexual interest, low self-esteem, withdrawal, and in its more serious form, it could lead to suicide. Actually, this is a very limited definition of depression. Depression, before you can say that you're experiencing this, you have to experience all these signs and symptoms from the stress and anxiety, plus depression, for at least 2 weeks or more. And it's always good to have someone from the professional to assess if you are really feeling depression before you label yourself that you are depressed. It could be just simply prolonged loneliness or sadness. So people are asking, why am I stressed and anxious all the time? So these are the possible reasons. Again, in loss of control. We are so used to being in control of everything, and suddenly it was lost because of the pandemic. So it can be very stressful. Digital deluge because no less human contact. We rely on the technology, so we are always facing our gadgets, laptops, so digital deluge. Less human contact because of that. Sedentary lifestyle because we are at home, so our movement are limited. Less outdoor time because we are following the protocols, so we are spending more time inside our homes. No escape from work because if you are working from home, then you have no excuse now not to go to work because you are just at home. So it can be stressful as well. And there is this economic anxiety because there is also uncertainty. When are we going to recover all the losses in our economy? And of course, for some, there is this obsession on productivity, but you cannot compare how productive you were at the office to your productivity at home because these are two different environments. So do not expect yourself to be productive like you are in the office. It will not happen because your home is not supposed to be a workplace. All right. So these are the common the answers why you are stressed most of the time and anxious during this time. So, what are the emotions? It's important for us to label our emotions during this pandemic. I have so many feelings. Is this normal? So, during the first few weeks of the pandemic, some people are feeling joy because they can do the movie marathon, they can relax. Some are feeling the shock or surprise because of the sudden lockdown. Okay, some people are experiencing comfort at their home, loving the quarantine, actually. Some people are getting worried because they are small cold or fever. They are scared that they may have contracted or the virus. Some people are getting angry because of different factors, like probably the government they think is not doing anything, or the people are not following the protocols, so many are getting infected. And of course, to feel sad during this time is actually normal because of these things. Okay? Because of physical distancing, it is easier to think that it is only you who feels and thinks these emotions. The truth is, you are not alone in having these thoughts and feelings because we are quarantined in our own home, so you think you are the only one feeling this. Actually, almost everybody, so you don't have to worry about that. Remember, these emotions are not viruses. It reminds us that we are human beings who care and care about the world we live in because some people tend not to dwell on their emotions, but you have to acknowledge it. Okay? Remember, friend, it is normal to feel these emotions. Pandemic or not, emotions are part of our lives. Okay? And therefore, dear friend, let us accept or acknowledge all of our feelings. That is the first step towards healing when it comes to mental health issues. Now, for the last part, the mental health self care. So, there are two themes under this facing the top mental health challenges. How are you going to face those top mental health issues? And providing self care. We all need that. Okay, so facing your fear, this is the best time for you to exercise your faith. So try faith over fear. Of course, there's so much in this, but what really important is faith. Anxiety, okay, try to stay calm and focus on what you can do. Depression, try to be confident that this too shall pass, okay? This is the common mantra for people who are experiencing depression. They are confident that this too shall pass. And for people who are grieving, try to do some step to accept the loss. That these are the first steps in facing this top mental health challenges. Okay, so this is just too broad, but I'm just giving you here during crises. Okay, so in addition to those four, so these are the more specific ones. Focus only on what you can control. Follow the health protocols by the Department of Health and other local agencies. So don't think about those things that are out of control. Focus on what you can control. It can do a lot to lessen your anxiety and stress. Second, establish a work routine at home for order and meaningfulness of your day. So it's important to have to, you should have established by now a daily routine, whether it's a work routine at home by this time. So you will have a sense of accomplishment and meaningfulness at the end of the day. Do things that brings you joy and comfort. It's the best time to do that. Name it: cooking, reading, watching movies, gardening. Do those things right now. Show care to others who need support during this crisis. It's also the best time for us to provide help to others. Let's face it, providing help to others makes us feel good. Okay? So do that. So you know this, stay healthy, eat right, sleep well, do exercises, strengthen your immune system. This is the best time to do it to fight COVID. discern what is fake from true news, limit your COVID-19 information intake. Just get enough, not too much. Okay? Stay connected with loved ones through phone or online. Show some emotional support. So this is the best time for you to connect with people. Okay? We have the technology to do that. Use it. And of course, seek professional help when needed using telecounseling. Even in my counseling, my clients, I'm meeting them through online because going out, honestly, I'm still afraid because of the contact with many people. So I will ask them if we can do this online for now. And then later on, if it's safe to go to the office, then we can do face to face. But for now, it's tele counseling. Grief is another long topic. So this picture that you see here on the screen is actually stages of grief, but we were not going to just discuss it tonight. We need another an hour or two for this. All you need to remember with grief is grieving is not linear, okay? And people grieves differently. Some people cry, some people grieve through being having a sense of humor. Some people deal grief with silence or keeping themselves busy. Okay, the goal is in dealing with grief is to go through the crisis and recover. So that is the goal. Go through it, not avoiding. Go through it and recover. Remember, more people are getting well and recover from COVID-19. The experts are currently searching for the cure and vaccine. There are assistances coming from the government, non-government organizations, and private sectors. And together we strengthen each other, together we heal as one. So remember these positive things. So where are you now in this pandemic? So I don't have the time to discuss, but I've seen this in Facebook, and it's very useful for us to ask ourselves, where are we? Of course, during the first few weeks of the quarantine or of the pandemic, everybody is in the fear zone, but you should be moving forward to learning zone. It doesn't mean you don't have fears. It's normal to have fears, like I said, but it would be good if we are already in the growth zone or spiritual zone by this time. So you can see there are some specific statements how you can measure where are you. Okay, so we're already in the fourth month. So personally, I am in the learning growth spiritual zone. So fear not much, but toward the growth and spiritual zone by this time. So ask yourself, where are you now in this pandemic? So in Philippians 4, 6 to 7, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And in Proverbs 12:25, anxiety in persons, heart weighs him down, but an encouraging word brings him joy. So this is the best time for us to give encouragement and to be encouraged by someone else. So don't hesitate to encourage people, especially those who are anxious around this time. So that would be all for tonight. So if you want to contact me, so these are my personal accounts. So visit my Facebook, simply try or simply the real you and other account. But if you want to contact us with my teammates in counseling, in Amara Counseling and Training Center, there's also our Facebook.
Here we receive a question here from Basuda. She said, we can't express our emotions in the circumstances as we have to be strong for the family. How do we help ourselves?
Okay, self-care. You acknowledge your emotions. Sometimes you have to express it on your own. If you need to go to your own room just to cry or call somebody else to talk, that would be a really big help. You don't have to contain it or to bottle it up inside because it will not really help you. Yes, helping out others can be very also tiring and stressful to us because you are receiving, experiencing so much emotions from others, especially to our family, from our family members. But remember that you also have to take care of yourself. Those self-cares I have given you, try to do some of those things. Okay, but most important thing is you'll be able to express it either on your own or with someone. It's really important to talk with someone, express, say everything inside what's going on, so that together with that person you can process what's really going on.
Okay. I never thought that there is a mental health law in the Philippines. I
Now,
just I just knew it just now. I only know that there's a safe space law, like in the office, through Atipoline. But mental health, I don't have any idea. I just knew it now. Okay, so can you tell me a short details like what's this law is all about, this mental health? Because
so
I
like
know.
I said, basically, the law is ensure that the mental health of the community is being attended to properly.
Mhm.
That's why we have guidance counselors in the schools. We have psychologists on the HR, which is they are actually doing their functions really well. That's why we have clinics, mental health clinics or centers like ours in certain communities. So these are recognized because it's becoming also an issue from us. Mental health services actually came from the West. Okay, the guidance and counseling office in the schools came from the Americans, and we adopted it. And because we are under our education, we adopted it from the United States. So it's almost similar to their practices. So very Western, but we can adapt it to our culture. And all of us here, the guidance counselors and other mental health professionals, psychologists, are working together. How can we really make this law work? Because not all people like you didn't know that there is this services and that
Yeah.
there is this mental health law. So it's a good thing. Now you know, and we have services. There's if you could actually Google mental health counseling services, there are so many already now in different areas, especially in Metro Manila.
Mhm. Actually, the word mental health for me is actually very new. I just only know about counseling, but about mental health, it's something new topic, new things for us. But it's very, very real right now, especially that we are having this pandemic.
Sure.
And definitely because of this lockdown, the deprivation of going out and doing some social things, that actually increases our mental health. Even if you think that you're okay, but I think it's not.
Mhm.
Especially that you don't know that it's already a
Yeah.
concern about your mental, right?
True.
So it's like, am I having depression or perhaps anxiety, and you didn't even know that you are having mental illness already? And
Mhm.
it's actually a timely topic for us because definitely if you are in a lockdown for how many months, 3 months, going to 4 months, good for those who can go out like working with a schedule. But what about the youth, the
Yeah.
kids? they they're
Actually,
they
yeah,
are
there's an
terrified of going
increasing
out.
rate now among young people on depression, anxiety, and also on suicide. So, although pandemic and quarantine is just one factor, but it's a huge factor that contributes to these issues nowadays.
Yeah, that actually makes me aware and also makes me, fear. Parang it gives me fear for the kids and for the young generation, especially that this kind of situation, because they are the youngs and they wanted to go out, they have these dreams, they're more on interaction. But if you actually box them in a house, that is something. So my question for myself is how we can help them, is especially no, they're just focusing on their cell phone and on their gadget, less interaction.
That's the thing. So I guess we need to look at the what are the advantages of being home together as a family and make use of the time of togetherness. So here we have kids also here at the house. We always ask them to minimize the use of the gadget. Let us talk, let us play, let us connect, because that's the best way for them to for us to know how they are really doing at this time. So at this point, they are worrying, or start to worry about the school because if they're not sure if they're going to school or not, or they can adopt the online class, which they are not really comfortable with. So at least now we know how they are feeling towards these new changes in their life. So let's have an open communication, talk to them about all these things, and minimize, the use of gadgets, especially for the really younger ones.
Yeah.
So that's the way to help out this young generation.
um I'd like to give any questions for teacher Rani, Basuda, and Marie. Do you have questions for our speaker tonight?
I don't have a question because that's my profession, that's my area of work, and so I'm just impressed. And actually, I'm like, that's the same situation in the Philippines. Wow! And like, this is so beautiful, and I really want to thank him. And I'm just grateful that somebody asked the question about self-care, because that's what I keep talking about, self-care, self-care. And now people are really beginning to see how important self-care is. And sometimes when you don't practice that and it becomes a habit, even during this period, you will be panicking and feeling guilty on practicing self-care. Whereas if you start before, then even now it's just going to be okay. And so it's really an opportunity to start and just continue even after the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's just what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Marie. Marie's been an advocate about mental health, and she really talks a lot about that kind of things, how she can help to women, especially for women. Thank you, Marie. Teacher Rani, do you have question?
Hi, hello.
Oh, sorry. You're muted. Or there.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I've been actually listening to Sir Alan Dizon in regards with his topic about mental hygiene. And I'm very much particular with it, actually, considering that I've been taking some units in counseling, and currently I'm going to serve as our school guidance counselor. And I am just so happy that your topic is just so very timely. Yes,
We're on the same field.
way
That's
back when
great.
2 years ago, 2 years ago, I went to my post-grad studies, and fortunately, I just really don't know how I got this straight one ratings in mental hygiene. But when we that is more on, I think, emotional, psychological, and social well-being, right? It's about a study about how we feel, think, and act. And according to our World Poll sister, May Ann, it's very timely, actually, sir, that you've been talking about this. I'm just going to ask if somehow can you lend me a kind of module in which we can share this to my students, or perhaps I will be able to share this topic of yours too to my teachers, to my co-teachers rather. Would it be possible? Or ano ba, pwede kang mag-lecture sa amin, ganyan, through Zoom?
Yeah, sure.
Or we can have a collab, something? That would be a very good idea, actually, because I've been thinking, what will I do in August? Because that will be the time that we will have our first
Mhm.
service. I think that will be in the middle of August. So, what will be my function since it's going to be my first time to serve as a guidance counselor? You know what? I'm not actually a licensed one yet, though I finished up some units, and still I am on this kind of what's this? Parang naguguluhan pa kung ano yung gagawin ko, ano yung pwede kong maitulong as a guidance counselor as of the moment. Ganun po. Kaya nga I'm very agitated kanina na nagsisimula na kayo sa topic tapos parang nasa gitna na yata yung nabutan ko.
And watch
So,
the
sabi ko, siguro
recording.
I will just be asking Sir Alain na lang na ano ba, I will be asking for modules or what. We can have another collab, ano ba,
Yeah. We're
Zoom
planning.
meeting with my other co-teachers po.
Sige. You wait for that time when you go back to the school, and then you can share this thoughts that you have, and then whatever you come up with as a plan, then let me know. Uh, I'm open to this kind of invitations if I could really help, because also this is an advocacy for me. So sure.
Sir, considering that we're talking about mental hygiene, is this applicable to both our students as well as professionals po?
Well, when you talk about mental health, well-being, everybody has to have, and we all have,
Mm-hmm.
even us therapists, counselors, we also have our own
Ay,
issues.
totoo,
That is
totoo.
why I have my own counseling personally, because I don't want my own issues to intervene with my work. So that's being professional, being ethical as well. Okay, so we all have mental health issues. So your question is applicable to everyone else? Yes. Only different ages, different developmental stages, different issues, but all these issues are in categorized as mental health, emotional, psychological, social well-being, like you said, under mental health well-being.
Wow, that's very interesting. Would it be possible that perhaps me personally will be asking a kind of assistance from you, from other counselors, that am I on the right track? Am I doing this rightly? Because considering that I'm given this kind of task as a counselor, I'm supposed to be on the front, giving them the right way, guiding them appropriately.
Mhm.
So, am I on the right track ba? Ito ba yung
Uh,
ginagawa ko, or baka naman I'm still going to be guided pa? Parang ganun kasi
yes,
yun.
this is your first
Um,
time to go here as a guidance counselor. I think one of the things I can suggest that is practical for now is you go to the PGCA official Facebook page, PGCA official.
okay.
So just like follow that page, there are upcoming webinar series. It's free, like
Okay, very good.
free, where guidance counselors can learn and how are you going to apply all these learnings when you go back to your own school and institutions. Okay?
Wow, that's very interesting.
What's
Thank
the
you so
title
much
of
for
the
that information, sir.
over there in Leyte?
Oh,
She's
wow.
located in Leyte. Yeah. All right. So, I just like to acknowledge yung work routine at home. You mentioned to your presentation that we can actually make a routine at home. And I believe that we are actually doing that, like the planting, doing some cleaning the house, or doing some routine with the kids. And it really helps a lot, especially for the mother and the father, for the parents to actually do some routine at home, to ease the boredom. I'd like to know more about the telecounseling. This is the first time for me to hear about it. When it's can I just start? When it started, the telecounseling, it's just this pandemic, or it's been happening before?
Okay, not really. Because yeah, it happened. It was happening before when the professional, the mental health professional, and the client is not geographically possible to meet. So they resort to telecounseling, which is through video like this, through Zoom, Skype, or Facebook Live, something like that. So yeah, we've been doing this. But now, because of the pandemic and the quarantine protocol, so it has become more useful, especially during this quarantine, because I'm scared to go out. I just commute going to the office, so the interaction with many strangers. So I always tell my client, we can do for now telecounseling, which is through a video or phone, whatever you prefer, you're comfortable with, we can do that. Okay. And actually, there's an organization there. They have this hotline for everyone else. It's free counseling
Mhm.
where people can just, I don't know if they have to register or something. They are doing a telecounseling for a certain hour in a day because a lot of people now are having these mental health challenges that they are facing. So it's like counseling in real life only via phone or video or online.
Or video call. Ah, okay. I think that's a very timely tele-counseling because there are some people na they're not ease or they're not comfortable just through chatting or through typing messages because sometimes it's very lazy to type, but it's easier to speak, so that you'd be able to express.
Yeah, we don't advise the chatting because it can be misread, it can be taken out of context. So
Mhm.
chatting basically I encourage for arrange for admin thing. So when you're going to meet, what is the time, what is the venue, then that's it. And then we talk about the issues when on the is agreed schedule online. Something
Mhm.
like
Yeah, I think that's better telecounseling. Oh, that's nice. All right. Um, how, for example, me, I like to actually had a consult or counseling with you. I believe that you already put your contact there. So if I'm a little shy, um, I'll, is it okay or just open that I can send a message to you and then you'd be able to, answer some question from a person who needs someone to talk with?
well, actually, people are getting appointments in our center by first chatting through our FB Messenger, the Amara Counseling and Training
Okay.
Center. And then we ask, so what do you need? What is the main issue? And then that's it. And then,
Mhm.
are you open to this schedule? So you agree. And then we will meet, whether online or face to face. So yeah, we do that. But we do not discuss the issue itself through chat because it's not really helpful for both parties actually.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Thank you so much, Alan. Teacher Rani, do you have any more question? Marie and Basuda?
No more question. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Teacher Rani?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so
Perfect.
much,
All right.
sir.
All right. So before we end this session, I'd like to invite everyone who are watching this through our Facebook Live and those who are thinking what is World Pulse. So World Pulse is a global social network connecting women worldwide and amplifying their global voice. World Pulse is a safe, supportive online community where every woman's voice matters. It's a global support network where no woman's voice goes unheard and no idea for change goes unseen. On Whirlpool's, women across 190 countries are supporting each other and changing the lives of millions of people in their communities. So those who are interested to join WorldPulse, you can visit worldpulse.com. And we also have WorldPulse Philippines Facebook group. If you'd like to join, you can join us. And World Pulse would like to link with women who want to be heard and make an impact through the power of her story. Encourage women to be part of a worldwide sisterhood where we can speak and lift each other through the World Pulse platform, and advocate individuals' aspiration by collaboration to benefit children, young girls, and women in our community, and develop World Pulse PH Sisterhood through active participation as an encourager, share stories, join meetups, and support any campaign online or offline. So we also have a support group for parents who are supporting kids, special kids. There is also other Facebook group which we call the World Pulse PH support group for special kids there. All right, so Alan, thank you so much for this timely topic. I think we really learn, and Teacher Rani, you can connect with Alan. You can message him. I'll give you his contact. Thank you, Marie, for joining us, and Basuda and Kate Lee. All right, so that's it. I think we're done, and thank you for those who join us who watches us through Facebook Live. Thank you so much, and we hope that next time you can join us again next Sunday. We will have a topic of autism emergency responders. So it's very interesting topic for us to watch and to learn. So hope that you can join us again next Sunday. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Teacher Rani. Thank you, Marie.